Hi everyone, and welcome to another Friday. It is Friday, March 19th, 2021, and this is Cord Cutting Weekly, the show where we wrap up the past week in cord cutting and streaming news. And this week we're going to talk about new channels coming to YouTube TV and Pluto TV, more support for Locast, streaming service Tubi possibly eyeing original content, and more. But first, of course, if you haven't done so by now, please do consider clicking those like and subscribe buttons down below. They really do help us out tremendously. And hey, did you know we also have an Instagram account? Yep, it's true. And you can find a link to that down below in the video description. We're looking forward to building it out as we go, and you're more than welcome to join us over there as well. And with all that being said, it's time to dive into the news, starting with YouTube TV. This week, YouTube TV added 7 more channels to its live TV streaming lineup. These newest additions are all owned by ViacomCBS, and they represent the last batch of channels we've been expecting since back in May of 2020, when YouTube TV and ViacomCBS announced a new deal that would bring more channels to the service, along with a price hike. These latest additions include BET Her, MTV2, MTV Classic, Nick Jr., and more. These new channels should be ready to go in your YouTube TV package by now, and if you've had a chance to check out any of the channels so far, let us know what you think of the new additions in the comment section down below. Speaking of channel additions, Pluto TV is back this week with a few more live TV streaming options joining its library. In all, the free streaming service announced 3 more channels now currently available on the platform. There's Crime 360 for all you true crime fans out there. That's on channel 382. Meanwhile, Skills and Thrills specializes in reality TV over on channel 292. And finally, there's Tiny House Nation for anyone out there fascinated by home design in compact spaces. You can find that on channel 619. And yes, all 3 channels are live as of this week, so you should be able to tune in to any of them by now. This week, we also saw the NFL announce new long-term media deals with several partners, including Amazon, Fox, NBC, CBS, and ESPN ABC. These new deals will kick off, pun intended, in 2023 and last into 2033. And you can find the full details broken down by partner in our post link down below in the video description. But to sum up real quick, Amazon gets what's billed as a first ever all-digital package, including exclusive access to Thursday Night Football. CBS keeps its rights to the AFC's Sunday afternoon games, ESPN will continue airing Monday Night Football, and Fox will continue to carry NFC games on Sunday afternoons and could look to leverage its Tubi platform for streaming as well. Meanwhile, NBC will continue to carry Sunday Night Football. It looks like NFL Sunday Ticket will remain with AT&T's DirecTV. And again, you can see more details in our full post on our site, cordcuttersnews.com. In sports coverage news, Sinclair-owned RSNs, or regional sports networks, will soon rebrand to become Bally sports channels by the end of the month, March 31st to be more precise. In all, some 19 Sinclair-owned channels will sport new names by month's end, so get ready for names like Bally Sports Arizona, Bally Sports Midwest, Bally Sports Ohio, and more. However, 2 channels are set to be retired, Fox Sports Carolinas and Fox Sports Tennessee. NHL content on those channels will now be aired over on Bally Sports South and Bally Sports Southeast. And you can find out more about the rebranding and the timeline in our post linked down below in the video description. Meanwhile, Amazon announced this week that it's expanding its local news coverage to 88 more cities nationwide. That represents a significant jump from the 12 cities Amazon first launched with back in December. Those initial cities included areas like New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, and others. Fire TV users can access that local news via the news app built into Fire TV streaming devices and smart TVs. The app will detect the metro area closest to your location, and you can customize the types of news sources to your liking. And that list of 88 new cities includes areas like Atlanta, Boise, Cleveland, and a lot of others. And yes, you can find the full list of new cities in our post linked down below. The nonprofit local TV streaming service known as Locast has announced another addition to its list of supported markets. This week, the company added Portland, Oregon to its roster of supported cities. Last week, we reported that Locast added support for the Cleveland, Ohio market and some 70 local channels in that area. This week's expansion into Portland is making some 39 local channels available to Portland's market of roughly 3 million residents, and that includes nearby cities of Salem, Tillamook, and neighboring Vancouver, Longview, and Kelso over the border in Washington. The addition of Portland to its lineup means Locast is now available in 31 markets around the country, and you can see that updated list on your screen right now. The service offers that local content for free via streaming, but it does accept donations to support its efforts. In hardware news, a recent FCC filing suggests we could soon see a budget streaming device option from retailer Walmart. The filing focuses on a new device referred to in the available documentation as the ON 2K streaming stick. Now, that ON brand is Walmart's own in-house line of personal electronics, and it looks like this new device sports Android TV and a familiar streaming stick form factor. As the name suggests, we're likely dealing with a device that tops out at a resolution of 1920 by 1080 or 1080p instead of the higher 4K, which further suggests this could be a budget-priced option to compete with the likes of Amazon's Fire TV Stick Lite and Roku's Express. No pricing or release date details have been offered up just yet, so we'll keep an eye out for an official announcement or store listing in the future. In other hardware news, the gaming world has been following recent rumors of an updated Nintendo Switch console that could include a newer, larger screen and possibly an updated processor inside as well. And additional reports from the site Game Reactor indicate that NVIDIA could be seeking to end production of its line of Tegra X1 Plus chips later this year. Now, that particular chip powers Nintendo's current line of Switch consoles, but it's also at the heart of NVIDIA's own line of Shield TV streaming devices. And while we're dealing with rumors and speculation here, if NVIDIA does indeed stop producing that specific chip, it does open up the question of what could happen to the Shield TV line. Will it be discontinued, or could we see an updated and perhaps more powerful variant using newer hardware in the future? Time will tell, but 2021 could end up being a very interesting year for NVIDIA's streaming device platform. As always, stay tuned. In Tubi news, we're hearing reports that the free streaming service is looking to get into the original content game. Executives from Fox, which owns the service, spoke at an investment conference this week about Tubi's interest in developing its own content. The move would follow similar efforts from the likes of Pluto TV, Crackle, and most recently Roku, which is set to debut an exclusive original series on its own free platform, the Roku channel, on March 19th. As for Tubi, sources have told Bloomberg the service has been talking with potential advertisers about the move and added that Tubi mentioned spending as much as $4 million per episode for an original series. And we'll certainly keep a close eye on this story and update you if and when Tubi officially enters the original content game. In other sports news, we're rapidly approaching the start of baseball season here in the US, and YouTube and Major League Baseball announced they've renewed their partnership deal. MLB Game of the Week Live on YouTube kicks off on April 7th with a game between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox. In all, the series will feature 21 games, all available for free via the YouTube app and MLB's YouTube channel. This year, they'll be adding a new feature called YouTube Player of the Game, which fans can vote on. And again, the streaming starts on April 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And so there you go. Those were some of the biggest stories we covered throughout the week. And as always, thank you for tuning in. And of course, don't forget we have links down below in the video description if you want to learn more about any of the stories we've covered here today. Those links will take you over to our news website, cordcuttersnews.com, where you can stay up to date 24/7. And while you're here, if you haven't done so already, please do consider clicking those like and subscribe buttons down below as well. They certainly do help out our channel tremendously, and you'd be joining a passionate and knowledgeable group. And you'd also be subscribing to a pretty active channel. On Wednesdays, Jess hosts our live Q&A session, and then on Thursdays, we focus in on a specific topic like this week's deep dive on Plex. And of course, there's Cord Cutting Weekly on Fridays, where we wrap up the past week in cord cutting and streaming news. For now, though, my name is Philip Palermo. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you all have a safe and wonderful weekend. Take care.